Good morning. What's up, folks? Welcome to the SMITE Console League. My name's Tom Battinger. This is Anatoly Alexeyenok, and we've got an exciting 4 matches for you today.
We're in week number 8 so far of the Console League. An interesting matchup to start things off with an undefeated team against one that's in the middle of the pack.
OutCold and Mv3 have been really fun to watch so far. Some strong plays, some not so strong plays. But I think that it's that inconsistency that kind of keeps us going.
That's true. On the one side for Mv3 Esports, they're sitting at 3-4 in the standings, whereas OutCold Gaming still undefeated with a clean record.
Yeah, 7-0 for OutCold up there on top. Nobody has come even close. Bedtime's calling it Mv3 tied up for 2-3, like you said, but it's a far jump from the 7 wins that OutCold has been able to get so far throughout the 8-week season. And the SMITE console side of things.
The only difference between the number 2 and number 3 spot between Bedtime's Calling and Mv3 was that Bedtime's Calling was able to take 2 different games in a best-of-3 set up against OutCold Gaming, whereas Mv3, every time they faced off against each other, it was a clean 2-0 for OutCold.
So that's the type of competition we're looking at right now. OutCold and Mv3 certainly have some tricks up their sleeve, but OutCold are the ones that have been really the strongest. And as we watch them, Toli, what are the things that have put OutCold on top of such a mountain?
It's a couple of things, honestly. It's between their aggressive support out of FataliTyxFire, and it's their flexible jungler, Kinder Warrior, that doesn't necessarily need to lean on that solo lane. He's able to really just ping-pong anywhere he wants.
That sort of flexibility really makes it so that other teams have to really react every single time they come out. OutCold can do things out of the solo side, like you said, the jungle, but it's all around the map that they're powerful, and that's what keeps opponents guessing.
And it's not only just Kinder Warrior, you also got to worry about Dragon King in that support role from time to time. Mid lane, Cynortas has been able to make some plays. Just Line out of the Hunter role has been, you know, rotating very effectively in the mid portion where he plays these hyper carry late games like the Amusin Cup, like the ROM, to really solidify his team the victory.
Yeah, Just Lion has been one of my favorite guys to watch here in this long lane. Just really aggressive, like you said. That's really what we see out of this league in general, but specifically OutCold is, you know, the PlayStation guys want to be aggro all the time. Just always hit W, always hit forward, always hit go, always hit the gas. There's really only one speed.
That's true, and for the PlayStation 4 Europe, everyone is kind of looking at this team as the titan of everyone else. So Mv3 has a tall task ahead of them, but if there was any player specifically that I'm looking at for challenging this number 1 spot, it's got to be the jungler role. I'm looking at OhMyJhox.
Yeah, OhMyJhox has been real strong as of late. Really like some of these aggressive picks. Again, aggressive is going to be the nature of the entire broadcast, because that's what these guys like to do, but it makes sense when you're winning. Now, for Mv3 going up against a tall player, a tall team such as OutCold, you said the player to watch is OhMyJhox here. What do you expect him to do, and what's the strategy?
Well, some junglers have been experimenting recently with speed to red to purple to ganking level 2 dual lane. That could be one idea to really throw a curveball at OutCold Gaming, trying to get that early first blood, catch them slipping a little bit. That wouldn't surprise me, because there's more pressure, I think, on OutCold Gaming to find the victory, to keep their streak alive. Less pressure on Mv3 because they're not really predicted to win, so there should be more strategies coming from them to be a little bit more loose in this game.
So a little less, you know, playing by the book, so to speak, but from Mv3 as predicted by Toli, and I think that's a fair bet. When we look at these guys, they like to bring out different strategies and try different techniques, and that's really what I want to see. I want to see OhMyJhox be kind of all over the map, whether he's looking for the level 2 gank or not. Really what I want to see is, I want to see the squad do what we don't expect. I want us to say a whole bunch of stuff on this desk, and then Mv3 go, no, we're not going to do that, because if we're surprised, that means their opponent's surprised, and that's the best way to get the win.
And in the dual lane, something that is not surprising is Beast playing the Jingwei from time to time, something that he really likes just to farm it up. And if they're leaning on that dual lane for the jungler ganks, that could be a good idea to keep the Jingwei there to get accelerated.
Well, let's get accelerated into game number 1 as we get into picks and bans. Mv3 on the left side with, of course, the first pick and the first ban. OutCold Gaming will respond. So normal bans, well, we have got the stats right down there. We see a lot of King Arthur bans, a lot of Merlin bans, some Hera bans as well. But Merlin will be the first ban here by Mv3. And while in the same sentence I say that, yeah, we're used to seeing a lot of Mv3 bans, this is, or a lot of Merlin bans, it is surprising to see him first.
That's true. It's normally the second ban because you want to ban away the Arthur and the Merlin because those two gods are very obnoxious currently to deal with if you're in the second pick. So that means MV3 has some other mid-mage selections that they want to lean on. Typically, you're looking at Zeus, Poseidon, Outposh in the Xbox world, PlayStation world.
Hun Bats has been banned out as well. A strong character. The ultimate is always worth talking about, but here specifically, recently he's got a change where he can clear camps a little bit easier. King Arthur's open because the only person banned by OutCold is going to be the Uller, and these are, how we say, throwaway bans because OutCold want to get a different power pick, which is going to be the Achilles. Achilles has been very dominant over there on that solo side, and I think it's pick King Arthur, Achilles. These are the two characters that you're going to fight over.
It's still flexible, honestly, if you want to run that in the jungle, but with the Dodgy locked in alongside the Achilles, leads me to believe Achilles solo could be support as well, potentially. Haven't seen it very often in Season 6, more of a Season 5 kind of support, but still has some merit there if you're able to rotate and find these fatal strikes. Dodgy with Achilles, it's a very aggressive solo and jungle side, and I'm expecting OutCold Gaming to lean on the blue buffs.
Well, Poseidon and Erlang Shen will be chosen here for MV3, and a nice look for them as Erlang Shen sets up Poseidon pretty well. Dodgy can kind of get out of jail here, so you're not going to surprise Kraken her anytime soon because she can jump up on the Palau with that ultimate. But when it comes down to it, I don't mind this. I think Poseidon and Erlang Shen are very strong in their own right, and then Raijin across the way.
It's just a way to peel for yourself. When you're dealing with a pesky Achilles, you got to whirlpool Kraken sometimes to get him away from you before he fatal strikes you. So I respect the Poseidon play. The cripple is going to make sure that OutCold Gaming is going to have to think a little bit more carefully about what gods they select that might lean a little bit too heavily on some escapes.
OutCold banning the Jingwei right now could be a little tip that they're going to be looking for Freya, or could be nothing at all. Gab going to be banned out as well as MV3 take care of the mid laner Agni, and then also look at OutCold Gaming. They're going to take out Hera. So, not convinced that Raijin is going to go into that mid lane. They're banning out 2 more mid lane gods. I think this is either Galaxy Brain or an accident.
Yeah, I'm not sure which, honestly, because I haven't seen Raijin really play it on anything but mid.
So Raijin, not when he first came out, but a little bit after, we were seeing Raijin jungle for a while. Really only out of 1 or 2 players.
It was like Scream.
Yeah, it was Scream, and I want to say irrelevant. It was a fleeting thought. Sometimes it works out, but I'm not sure. I think that going for the double mid ban after the Raijin selection is interesting.
What's not interesting is this dual lane out of MV3. It's very standard, actually, between the Kumbhakarna and the Hachiman. Very safe selection. I don't really see any fault in there.
He's coming out. And that's that. Interesting bans coming out from MV3. We'll see if it's enough to win the game. OutCold is their opponent. Let's jump right into it. Casters, take us away.
Yeah, believe it or not, Tom and Toli, the Raijin was for the middle lane.
Yeah, I believe it. That's where Raijin goes. It's in the mid lane.
Well, afterwards, you still want to make sure that, no Heras, no Agnis come through, just in case.
Yeah, now normally I'd say, well, we've seen some weird, like, Hera jungle nonsense, and I say that truthfully, it's nonsense. But Kinder Warrior had already picked the Dodgy.
Right.
Yeah, it was weird.
It was definitely odd. It's good news, though, for OutCold, and not only do they get that nice advantage in picks and bans, but also they've got mrsacx back, right? It was Dragon King, I believe, who was in there last week playing for them. And to be fair, Dragon King played so well that, if he had to play again, I wouldn't feel bad about it. But this is the roster that has worked for them so long here in this first phase of Season 6 that you don't want to fix what ain't broke.
Yeah, that's true, but to be honest, I don't think it was broken with the Dragon King either. I think he at times looked like one of the better supports in the league. So we'll see. I think that it might be some recency bias. I'm excited to see how well mrsacx does and let him earn the right to prove that he still deserves this spot.
That's right. OutCold are undisputed the top team here in PS4 EU, and no one's really been able to get quite close to taking that one away from them. So it'll be up to MV3 to try and hold on to that spot. They have a bit of a different look here in the support role already. Second Jose is in there. Hoseal looks like is in the support role for them. That's not quite what they normally have. I think Father of Fall is also a new look for them over in the solo lane as well. So MV3 have to try and get it done with the members they have available.
Always difficult when you're changing out 2 members at the same time, but sometimes you just got to do what's necessary, as Cynortas and Kinder Warrior were able to successfully get into the enemy jungle, though it looks like red buff, they got their own. Just kind of an aggressive pathing from them, I suppose, but the duo lane for OutCold Gaming certainly ahead so far. Artio, Hou Yi not the best wave clear in the world as a hunter. It's a little bit on the weaker side, actually, but Artio just brings so much when it comes to wave clear that it's going to put you in the lead.
That's right. It's so strong when she's able to step up with a few extra abilities. She pokes you and the wave so well. She does both of them, and yeah, just like that. Bullying Hosiel all the way out of the lane and letting Just Lion pick away at his autos. But Jox is making a very well-timed rotation. A two-man pin lands to the root as well, and mrsacx in trouble. He falls down, and now a little bit of trouble for Just Lion as well. Has that dive bomb to reposition, but a long, long walk to get back to safety.
Now, Jox already used the blink, so I don't think he'll be able to catch up to Just Lion here, but he will find himself a purple buff, potentially. Just Lion going to try and force him off of it, but Jox should have the secure over the enemy hunter.
Especially now that he's getting some help from Seal making his way over. That should slow things down. Just Lion going to try and still get some good damage in. Not quite enough, though. Jox takes the buff away and drops it down for Hosiel, but Just Lion did what he could to try and slow that process down, but that's a first blood off a very good early rotation. These junglers in like SML, SCL are starting to go back to that early, like 2-minute or so gank when these hunters and dual lanes are still like level 2, level 3.
Well, I'm surprised that OutCold was caught so off guard by that, because Jox just pathed into top left jungle after clearing the mid wave. That should have been a good indicator that he's probably going to come and gank duo at some point. There's not a whole lot else for him to do at that position, so I think that with good communication there from OutCold, that should have been enough to save the duo lane.
mrsacx might be in trouble again. A nice two-man stun into the ricochet that did hit both but only stun one. And that should buy enough room for mrsacx to fall back. They got to calm down a little bit over here in the duo lane as they're getting aggressive, and now Jose Rayito is the one making his presence known with the Kraken, and that catches out Just Lion, no problem. OhMyJhox Beast puts down mrsacx as well, and that's 3 quick kills for Mv3 in the duo.
Wow, that was perfect for Jose. I don't even think that he was aiming for Just Lion necessarily. He just happened to jump right into the Kraken as he cast it. Sometimes you just put yourself in the right position. Another good gank on the duo lane. And again, that should have been communicated by Cynortas.
Exactly, that they had another rotation over. So clearly something a bit awry. Either, and at this point it makes me think it's the duo lane, because that's twice from probably 2 different sources of information that it didn't come through, and mrsacx and Just Lion maybe feeling confident enough to stay forward stay forward no matter what. But either way, they've been punished by those ganks from the jungler and now from the mid lane. And so far, it's working out very well for Mv3. About 1,000 gold, not quite out in the lead.
Certainly a great start for them, and they've got a great mid-game composition as well to really start snowballing these team fights. They've got lots of CC, plenty of damage between Jox and Jose and Beast, and even Father of Fall.
You can say King Arthur, yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, King Arthur's pretty good at dealing damage and CCing you and
not dying and
not
sustaining,
dying,
yeah,
right?
Yeah. Picking someone out of the fight, yeah.
You know what he's not great at, though? You know what King Arthur doesn't do particularly well?
He can't like rotate really well, like an Apollo. Maybe you mean like like that, so you can zoom across the map.
Well, he's got teleport, so that's not.
Oh,
no,
sure,
I was
sure,
really
sure,
just gonna meme a bit, because he does everything like seriously well.
I was memeing too. That wasn't true.
No, it was like more of an answer that I was gonna give. I think I was gonna say that he's not very good at remembering birthdays.
Oh, that's good. As Jose Rayito continues to be good as well. Cynortas might be in some trouble. Still has Thunder Crash available. The pin won't land. He goes right to the ultimate. That's a great job fearing the enemy away. mrsacx comes in to try and help out, but might have given his life away too. He's trapped inside the whirlpool. Some help comes over the top though as Kinder Warrior jumps in, but Rayito finds mrsacx right away.
Oh no, Cynortas jumps in after his jungler. Beads were there for Jose. That saves his life, but Cynortas already threw his away. A hot start for Mv3, 6-0 with less than 6 minutes in.
And remember last week when I was starting to say that OutCold were looking less like a team that was making less mistakes and more like a team that was just affirmatively stronger, like just
Yes.
making the better calls on their own. This is nothing like what we saw from this last week. This has been real rough from them. And yeah, Mv3's done some nice moves, but largely this feels self-inflicted.
I agree. I mean, duo lane dies twice on rotations that should have been called, so they either weren't called or weren't listened to.
Right.
That's basically inexcusable. The call from mrsacx and Cynortas to go back in, just outright bad.
Yeah, I mean, clearly no communication between them because I think Cynortas had done enough with the fear that he was out.
Yes,
so there's really no reason for mrsacx to come in at all, as long as Cynortas is communicating that effectively there. But he puts himself in danger. mrsacx willingly throws his life back onto the fire. Kinder Warrior jumps in as well, and just not a good look for them at all. And now it's Mv3, the beneficiaries, who are up in this early game. And remember, we have not yet had a King Arthur in these fights, so things might get even worse for them once he starts rotating over, even though at least for now FataliTyxFire slightly ahead in experience.
Surprised that it's only about a 1,800 gold lead though for Mv3, because they've been consistently invading red buffs, they've been consistently invading purples and getting all these kills as well. Maybe it's time to start pulling gold pretty soon, because you have an insane XP advantage now if you're Mv3. I mean, you've got a level and a half in the mid lane, you've got 2 full levels in ADC. You want to utilize those while you have them, and you won't forever. And Jose Raito's going for a build. I just realized that this has got to be an early Chronos pendant, I'd guess. Either way, I heavily dislike this build. It's expensive. Poseidon really wants to leverage his early Kraken usage to insta-kill people. Spear of the Magus Rush is really, really good for a reason. You end up doing true damage to even mrsacx, who's got those reinforced greaves. With this current build, Jose is going to have a lot harder time killing this Artio instantly, where he really should be able to at this point in the game.
Jose did a good job avoiding the actual oracles, but I think Just Lion heard him and was able to dive bomb away, but he doesn't have dive bomb now, has to use beads. Kinder Warrior, though, finds Jose, but JhoX returns the favor. Cynortas drops the Taiko drums, and JhoX has been chained, so he should be pulled right back into his death. Kinder Warrior with a double and a big answer back for OutCold.
Jose never got the Kraken off, and that's an easy way to lose a team fight, not using your best ultimate at this point in the game. Great double stun there from Sax. Beast in a world of trouble. Does have that mounted archery and uses it, but tries to turn back in for the damage.
And he's trying to get what damage off that he can, but Hosiel is blocking it. mrsacx can keep right on pushing. That's a tanky Artio at this point who does not much care. But finally, Mv3 get a bit punished for over-aggressing into the jungle. Cynortas goes too far forward first, though, and OhMyJhox Beast just turns around and kills him.
Yeah, I don't know what he thought was going to happen from that position, but Percussive Storm is slow damage. It's not burst damage. You gotta follow the beat of the drum literally, and it just never gonna beat that damage from mounted archery.
Kraken secured, and now Just Lion in some trouble. He still has dive bomb, so he will start jumping away. He is baiting like he wants to move towards the tower, not quite. Gets away from the whirlpool and away from the tidal surge. So despite what I can only say was curious positioning from Just Lion, he gets away.
Bit of a rough one to start, huh?
It's not ideal. I did want to point out though that we are in the new patch. Remember, SPL didn't play on it.
Right.
We let them take a little bit of time to get accustomed to it and to actually practice on it, since it was only available, I think, starting Monday or Tuesday. But SCL, since we're here now, they're on this live patch. You could even see it with Just Lion kind of scooting along as he dropped the ultimate. Ho Yi no longer rooted when he cast it. We love it.
Now, you've been very excited about gods you like to play getting buffs on cast before. None more so than Mercury getting Golden Blade back.
Exactly, which is great.
That was the best one for you. How close is this? Because you are clearly very excited about it.
It is not quite the same because, again, Mercury clearly broke it with it.
Yeah.
And I don't think this breaks anything for Ho Yi, but it just feels very good when you're using it. And it was a thing that felt a little bit bad before, so very nice to have that advantage. Just Kraken this time nowhere near the mark. Jose Raito a little bit awry on that cast of the ability. A good whirlpool, though. That forces Kinder Warrior right up into the powwow. He'll at least pull in JhoX. But will there be any follow-up? No. Hosiel does a good job zoning them all the way, but Epic Uppercut also not particularly good. JhoX goes in trying to lock down Kinder Warrior, but it's the Taiko drums that makes the most noise. JhoX in some trouble, heals up and is able to make his way back out.
Good ultimate that time from Beast. That'll slow down mrsacx enough for Jose to get the kill. Kinder Warrior caught backing and count himself lucky that Beast didn't find a home with that Heavenly Banner.
Cynortas, though, can't quite finish the Percussive Storm damage, and so Mv3 make it out with incredibly low health bars on just about everyone and a kill onto mrsacx. They've finally been able to step further forward into this jungle without getting punished. And again, that was without Jose Raito really finding much on the ultimate at all. That could have been even worse for OutCold.
Father of All had FataliTyxFire dead to rights, but ended up missing that overhand slice. So another kill gone to the wayside on both sides. Been a rough start, I'd say, from both ends of the spectrum.
Now Father of All might be getting baited in as Kinder Warrior's made his rotation back over, and he's already used the ultimate. That's a great job from FataliTyxFire, just barely clinging to life there, keeping Father of All pushed too far up the tower line and setting up for Kinder Warrior to make an easy gank. He'll even try and be here for the blue buff spawn, but a little bit too early. Only a hair too early. I don't know if he even realized and ends up giving it up.
Kinder Warrior's been the one, despite the rest of OutCold's struggles, that has stayed pretty close. And now, after a big kerfuffle on the left-hand side, is the first word that came to mind.
Right, yes.
OutCold now pretty even in gold, much closer. And while the XP differential is still certainly there, specifically in the ADC role,
yes,
the Beast just hasn't been pushing it too much to really make you pay. What's up?
That's not great from Kinder. I guess
he beads anyways, so it doesn't really matter, you know? That's what I'm going to tell myself.
But you do it so quickly, I guess. You know, you don't even really...
My man, that was the Nick Young, like, shoot the three, turn around, start dancing as it just immediately misses.
That's exactly what that was like. Unfortunate, though. Kinder Warrior couldn't quite clean that kill up. But as you said, joke's on Jose, right? Because they got his beats.
No. I wouldn't say that at all.
Well, I'm just saying he was in no danger, so.
Yeah, that is certainly apparent.
Gold Fury goes down for Mv3. A great job securing that objective. Poseidon early on uses uppercut to keep Kinder Warrior out of the fight as Kraken yet again finds little. Just Lion drops down his ult with way in the backline to create space, and now it's OutCold zooming forward. A good whirlpool, though, cuts that fight in half, creates room for Mv3 to get away scot-free. Though with the red buff spawning, they might be able to steal this. And yes, Just Lion should take it. Yes. The whirlpool is still there. I thought maybe he couldn't get it.
A bit risky. I've decided why Jose has built cooldown boots into Chronos Pen. It's because the Krakens aren't getting a lot of value individually. So if I just throw out more of them, there's a better chance that they'll hit. This is sending this is copy pasting the same intro message to everyone you know. You know?
Just seeing how that works, you know?
Right.
Just seeing what I could find here.
Just the volume.
Right.
Quality or quantity over quality is really the idea, I suppose.
You know, sometimes that works.
You think so?
In some cases, maybe not with Krakens. But like if it's like, you know, fast food, then yeah, you want to get a lot of that and not so much worried about how good each individual one is.
I don't know. I think that, let's say, not all fast food restaurants are created equal.
They're not.
What I mean by that is not all Wendy's are the same quality. I think I would rather, like, where I grew up, there were Wendy's about 5 minutes away to the left and 10 minutes away to the right.
Okay.
The one that was 10 minutes away was much better quality. And I would double the time it took double the time, and I would still go to that one.
Right.
Because it was just better quality.
No, I'm sure on your end that makes sense. I'm saying that if you're Wendy, then you just want out as soon as possible. FataliTyxFire is locked down, but at this point the Achilles, too tanky, lives through even the Kraken.
He doesn't have a single shred of magical defense. It's just the fact that Jose does no damage because he built full cooldown.
Sure. Yes. That does hurt his damage substantially. Poseidon is the one that's in some trouble now as Kinder Warrior gets the beads from Jose Raito yet again. A little bit off that timing. Though taunting Just Lion, he has the Suns there to buy him some time. Mounted Archery locks him down, and this should be a kill for OhMyJhox Beast. A rampage now as he's 5-0-2 on the Hachiman.
Just Lion having a rough start to this set. Has been behind since minute 1 with the early dual lane gangs.
That's right.
Only sitting at 33 stacks of that Devourer's Gauntlets. I mean, he's got no shot at playing.
And mrsacx has no shot at getting out either. Jose Raito cleans him up easily off the setup from Father of Fall. And I want to make sure that I make it clear to everyone at home how surprising this is. I mean, OutCold have been up at the top all phase 1, and it rarely looks particularly close. And Mv3 has looked good at times, but this isn't even really the same team. They have their core there, but a different support, a different solo laner. I mean, this is not the same team we've seen before. And so far, they're looking very strong here in Game 1.
That they are. Definitely an improvement for this squad as Cynortas, Mez, Kraken. Aegis was there for him, but all that does is delay the inevitable. Jose able to find his 6th kill of the contest. He's got half of Mv3's kills.
The Fatal Strike blocked as well, but it doesn't matter. Jose Rayuto ends up falling either way. They're going to keep on pushing, but now JhoX comes to join the fray, lands a pin from the three-point line. That's enough to stop the push from OutCold. They'll have to lick their wounds underneath the Tier 2. The Tier 1 tower already down. And now Mv3 can even move into the jungle and start stripping some more away. They don't feel comfortable going for this Pyro. They'll clean up what's theirs.
Hoseel at 0-0 and 10. That's pretty good for a support. That's kind of the ideal support score line. He's actually a little bit behind in XP, which tells me he's probably not taking nearly as many waves as what mrsacx has been taking, but that's just because mrsacx knows that his team is behind. He needs to find something.
Just Lion's already committed the ultimate and didn't have the stun there to follow up. He'll fight inside the minion wave instead. Heavenly Banner is good damage, but it's Kinder Warrior who's baiting here. Mounted Archery gonna try and wait it out with the dive bomb and can't turn around in time. And now Kinder Warrior was trying to even the numbers, but Hoseel on his way, so is mrsacx. OhMyJhox Beast drops down. Mez can't find Just Lion because he has the beads, and just like that, maybe not even fully deserving it, Just Lion is the one that ends up winning that trick.
Easy bait. A little bit unfortunate that he doesn't end up getting the last hit because the difference in XP and gold would have been a huge shutdown bonus for Just Lion. I mean, OhMyJhox Beast was 5-0 at that point.
He's gone to the Odysseus bow too in his third slot. Talk about though in a moment as Kinder Warrior does a great job getting away from the Kraken and
Very
pulling
nice.
JhoX back in. What a perfect situation there from Kinder Warrior in that last sequence, and just as the Fury spawns.
And this is what makes Nick Young so infuriating as a basketball player, is because he does the dance after missing, and then he does plays like that, where he uses the ultimate to immune the Kraken, finds both with the pull-in. That was beautiful by Kinder Warrior.
He does get his beads forced out though by Hoseel. And now the Oni Fury in their sights. Remember, Just Lion still does not quite have that Sunbreaker ultimate. He'll have to wait. And Hoseel's done enough by himself to slow down this Oni Fury push. In fact, now that Father of Fall is here, not only can they not do the objective, they can't even stick around. It's too strong from his fight. Dive Bomb allows him to get back over the wall, but Father of Fall is going to keep spinning his way towards him.
Has his ultimate up now, but doesn't seem to be his best use from this position. This is the first time that King Arthur has joined the fray, but he gets his dash interrupted. FataliTyxFire a little bit early, though, on that Fatal Strike. Needed just a little bit more damage to set him up.
Close, though. It's at least enough to force Father to fall back. Sunbreaker used on top of Hoseel. He dashed out of that one in a hurry. OhMyJhox Beast used his ultimate defensively as well, and Kinder Warrior can't quite bring down Father of Fall. And now Just Lion, yet again, the furthest one forward and blown up on the front line. JhoX finds him, but up onto the Palau goes Kinder Warrior to look for someone to pull in. He finds little. It's OhMyJhox Beast dueling it out with FataliTyxFire in the back line. He's got help from Jose Rayuto, and they take him down as well.
Good peel from Mv3 to help out their Hunter, and now this should be a pretty easy Gold Fury for them. I mean, Kinder Warrior is here, but no blink, no beads. JhoX knows exactly where he is, and Kinder Warrior should just be dead here, potentially.
Doesn't have the ultimate either to help him reposition as the Oni Fury does go down, and JhoX gives up the chase. So Kinder Warrior at the very least makes it out, but that is the objective, the team fight, all of that in favor of Mv3. Even still, though, they only hold on to about a 3,000 gold lead. As impressive as I thought that 3K gold lead was at 7.5 minutes, it's less so now at 20.
3,000, you're right. I mean, it's just, with how dominant it's felt for Mv3, I feel like it should be more.
Yeah.
So far, Finch. I mean, Kinder Warrior's done a great job of keeping it close for OutCold, and make no mistake, it's been Kinder Warrior keeping it close for OutCold. FataliTyxFire's been farming very, very well. He kind of delayed his rotation, I think, a bit onto the Gold Fury side, but it still ended up making sure that he was getting enough farm and he was there on time, so it was well used. FataliTyxFire sitting at level 18 is the highest in the game. And eventually, Just Lion, I mean, the way that Season 6 works, you just get a lot of farm from 25-minute minion waves. Even 20-minute minion waves seem to give you a lot of golden XP. So specifically XP, actually, and it's Just Lion going to be able to catch up to OhMyJhox Beast just by absorbing waves at this point.
Shouldn't be too long, as he can trust his team to try and tread water while he farms up in duo lane. That means the pressure on Mv3 to try and win this 5v4 while they have it. They move to the Pyromancer to force it off, but Kinder Warrior goes right to the back line, and Jose Rayuto melts underneath the pressure from the horrible burns. He does get the Kraken off at his own feet, but Kinder Warrior punishes him with the chain.
Oh.
It hits 3, pulls him right back in, and that's exactly what you want from the jungle.
Cynortas has a bit of damage, but not as much as he was looking for. Father of all over him. Beast able to put him down off the horse. And now mrsacx is next on the list.
And eventually the 5v4 comes back to bite them as Mv3 start to overwhelm them with numbers. Kinder Warrior in trouble. JhoX, if he could find the autos, would certainly have a kill, but just can't quite get in range. Finally puts him down. Remember, Just Lion this whole time has been pushing in duo. He'll at the very least find that tier 2 tower and a ton of farm than he really needed. Still, Mv3 have not quite done enough, even with 3 kills to even this up. They need this pyro and maybe even a bit more.
Ooh.
Okay.
No, that's not what you're looking for.
Alrighty.
OutCold. I just like, he doesn't need to pull it at that angle, Finch. You can like pull it closer to your, like it moves with you, and it might have been out of range. Maybe Jose could have like gone in and used a CC of some sort.
But he like used his 2 first, right? Like he for sure is about to do it.
Yeah.
I feel like you could even like leash it and just pull it right back.
You know what you shouldn't do in that situation?
Hold it.
Just say, we'll see. He might get it. Kind of.
I bet he won't.
Flip the coin, if you will. That's usually the wrong call, and that's why. What we just watched is why. It costs you nothing there to reset it, to pull it back further, to have your support zone. It costs you nothing.
Well, to be fair, though, even though they lost 3 members, because Pyromancer went to OutCold and the Tier 2 tower in left, and Just Lion has evened up in experience, that's a 1 fight for OutCold,
yes.
I would say, despite losing 3 members. And now the lead has all but evaporated. Cynortas is on time with the Aegis this time, but still isn't enough. Can't get Thunder Crash off in time, and Jose Rito gets the kill, even with Kinder Warrior backing him up. That is the Palau down now as well, to make Kinder Warrior slightly more vulnerable.
Man, feels good when you get some penetration online as Poseidon. You can actually like kill people off your Kraken. Even if they Aegis the Kraken damage, you just do enough elsewhere that it's pretty hard to get away from you. It feels really nice.
Seal trying to stop the rest of the team from getting to this fight as Kinder Warrior goes in aggressively on OhMyJhox Beast. That forces out mounted archery. He'll find no damage there. JhoX wants to continue pushing forward as well, but away in the back line is FataliTyxFire. He knows Beast is low. Epic Uppercut keeps him out of it, but no one's helping JhoX. He loses the 1v3 in the back. FataliTyxFire does his job well, and that's a pick to make it 1-for-1.
Jose is here.
Big
Kraken ready. FataliTyxFire with a good Fatal Strike, though, gives him that CC immunity, and then he's going to be able to walk away. Jose's able to kill squishies now with that Spear of the Magus, but still can't really contest with the tanks. Just doesn't do enough damage to them, especially in instances like that where you're getting, what, 1 tick of Spear of the Magus before your Kraken goes off? It just doesn't do enough damage.
Genji's guard finished to finally give him some dedicated magical protection. He went back and bought a full Spirit Robe after that fight as well, did FataliTyxFire. So he'll be even more difficult to take down if it's a result FCC that sets him up for it. Be even tankier on the back end. And OutCold have done a great job to bring this game back to parity. And despite some of the sloppiness we saw through the early game that was not characteristic, I would say, of OutCold at all, they're still in a decent position to win. They've got a little bit more work to do for Cynortas. He's still a good bit behind in terms of where Jose Rito is, at least in experience, but they're still very much in this game.
Absolutely. It really is anyone's game to win at this point. I mean, Cynortas definitely needs the XP, as you highlighted, but outside of that, they're good.
Yeah.
I mean, Just Lion's really far behind in items. That's certainly going to hurt them. Beast has a chin size, and Aussie's got double lifesteal in the build. He's really, really far ahead in damage output in comparison to Just Lion, but outside of that, you're in a good spot.
Jose uses Kraken defensively, and it does indeed hurt Kinder Warrior. Palau Chain 2, though, lands, and that puts Jose Reed in the ground. They'll continue to fight, though, as the 3rd chain forces OhMyJhox Beast to use the mounted archery defensively. He's going to try and close the gap, and it's a great ultimate from Father of Fall. Doesn't even need the backup from Beast. They find that kill, but unfortunately, it will cost them their support on the left-hand side. Just Lion takes him down, now the Tier 1 tower in their sights.
2-for-1 in OutCold Gaming's favor, now Tier 1. Ready to go for them. Minion wave coming in as well. Without good wave clear, there's no chance Mv3 can actually defend that.
Right.
Primal Fury's up, but with a full health King Arthur, this won't be particularly easy.
Nope, not if he can make it in here in time. FataliTyxFire the front line to keep them zoned away from the objective, and the burn must come through quickly. But all of a sudden, JhoX is now here. Pin lands as well. Primal Fury is certainly still aggroed, and OutCold Gaming grab it, but it was a toss-up, and Just Lion's got to run. FataliTyxFire, though, finds a critical X in the JhoX. That pulls Beast back as well as he's stunned out, but Father of All keeps up the chase and hunts down the Hunter.
FataliTyxFire just cannot contest with the double lifesteal coming from Beast. Father of All, however, can contest on the top side. He's found a couple kills now and looking for one more.
Yeah, this should be his. It's difficult for mrsacx to keep up as Father of All recognizes that he has the cooldowns and can move back in. OhMyJhox Beast is coming up to this as well, so if mrsacx keeps up this chase, he certainly could end up falling. He does come back in, gets knocked up, and Beast gets the kill.
Kinder Warrior returns, though. He's got a good damage onto Father of All. He'll take him down, but a full health Hachiman is going to be a problem.
OhMyJhox Beast cleans up the first kill. Aegis lets him immune the damage. Now he has friends, which is not what FataliTyxFire was looking for at all. The Whirlpool too strong. A day aside for Mv3 and OutCold Gaming trickle their way into their deaths with a lot of what I want to say is pressure from Father of All.
Yes.
To set up for it.
Absolutely, but it's also OhMyJhox Beast who's just killing it right now in this Hachiman. I mean, they gave him a huge lead in the dual lane, and my man is making it pay off so far. He's top of the player damage charts, 9, 1, and 8. More than doubling Just Lion's damage. I mean, this Hachiman has been a real problem, and OutCold just aren't matching that damage output in ADC.
They don't have a way to match it at this point. The only way that they can do it, and which is why it's important to highlight Kinder Warriors, if they can kill him early enough to remove his damage from the fight. And Just Lion has thrown his life away and the ultimate as well. Jose Ryutu gobbles him up with the Kraken, and they come right back to Pyromancer.
Yeah, I just don't know what the thought process was there, Finch. I mean, you've got no relics. You face check an objective where you know at least 3 people were there. They were all pretty healthy. Just a bad decision there from Just Lion.
Especially at that point when you know FG is down.
Right.
Like, best case scenario, you're stealing Pyromancer, right? Like,
and that's worth nothing.
Yeah, it really is not. And it doesn't even really hurt Mv3 all that much if you take it away from them. So I agree. Certainly not worth this time that could be spent completing a 6th item.
Yeah, getting gold.
Yeah.
Which he desperately needs at this point. I mean, OutCold has a lot of people who desperately need some extra items. Kinder Warrior's doing pretty well for himself. He's 6 slotted, so that's good news for them. But Cynortas needs to finish off what's probably going to be an Obsidian Shard so that he can hopefully kill Father of All. This is some key items definitely still to be completed for OutCold, and it shows.
Cynortas caught out by Jose Ryutu, and that will spell his end. Kinder Warrior has to leave as well. In fact, goes right up onto the Palau to try and get away from some of the danger. He will be able to pull back in, at least OhMyJhox Beast, and that's critical if they can remove the Hachiman. But he just stands tall, gets a little bit of help from the shell, and it's nowhere near enough damage. They come grab the tier 2 tower, and they keep right on pushing. They've got FG, the enhanced FG, on everyone except Father of All.
Yeah, it's a great time to have your mage alive to follow up off of a good ult onto the enemy hunter who has no relics, but Cynortas getting picked in the mid lane stops that hope.
They are able to lock down Hoseel inside those suns, and it burns. Needs some SPF, it seemed, to get him out of that one. The rest of Mv3, though, despite low health bars, want to keep forcing down this left side Phoenix. They get in the one more auto they need and take it down, and Kinder Warrior has to use relics just to get away from JhoX. OhMyJhox Beast finds Just Lion. A matchup that's gone their way all game, and now it's some trouble for FataliTyxFire as he gets locked down. Kraken on the mark, knocks him up and eats him too. That spells the end for the solo.
Cynortas is respawned, and he's got some good damage. Thinking about jumping in, I imagine, but Taiko Drums could be the call. Father of All very, very weak. Taiko Drums would take care of him from this position, but Cynortas probably just doesn't know what Father of All has available. If he has that CCM immune ultimate, then not really worth using.
Kinder Warrior might be in trouble, dashing in aggressively onto Jose, and not much chance of escaping here as the rest of the team hunts him down. That's if they do choose to hunt him down. The Whirlpool forces the Palau, and so far Jose has just dodged all the chains. It does at the end pull in Father of Fall and force some of his CC immunity, but Kinder Warrior is certainly dead to rights.
I wonder if doing red is the right call there for Kinder Warrior, because you're right, there's no way he lives against Poseidon with that much movement speed. I wonder if you just try and take away their buff.
OhMyJhox Beast finds Cynortas as well as they continue to threaten the mid Phoenix. With only 2 of them, they sent the rest of the team to hunt down Kinder Warrior. And the 2 are not quite enough to grab this mid Phoenix. They're forced off. They'll keep these waves pushed up, but rethinking whether or not they can just stand inside the Phoenix and fight.
Man, almost 40k damage now for Beast, who continues to be able to
earn
stay
the
pretty
name.
safe. Yeah, he's... And just no one's looking at him, it feels like, because Cynortas is dead every single fight. Kinder Warrior is trying to jump on everybody, but it's dodgy. You can't really insta-kill people for free at this level. They're going to turn and burn you pretty easily.
Right.
And Mv3's done a good job of peeling for Beast so far, for good reason. I mean, he's the one who's doing all their damage.
That's right, and Hosiel has done a great job of that as well. Even Jose Raitu, you've been talking a lot, especially lately, about how much these carries have to kind of look out for each other in this backline sometimes. He'll drop that Whirlpool at OhMyJhox's feet to limit the options for Kinder and force a premature powwow, and it's worked well for them so far. OutCold Gaming, despite a few moments ago, 5, 6, 7 minutes ago, having this game back to parity, it's now feeling more and more out of reach. 2 Phoenixes down, and Mv3 with a substantial lead. They have control of this jungle. They can come back to the FG as well. OutCold options starting to get more and more limited.
Only 1 Phoenix remaining, and it's going to be pretty easy for Mv3 to transition from the right side Fire Giant to that right side Phoenix pretty quickly. Problem now for OutCold is that you have to win your fight so handily that you deicide Mv3. You really can't lose more than 1 if you have any hope of trying to counter end. I think there is potential for that at this point. I mean, their Phoenix damage and Titan damage is pretty good from Kinder Warrior because that Hydra's Lament really helps out. But that is that's pretty optimistic thinking with how these fights have gone for OutCold. They've just been so scattered throughout these fights.
Yeah.
I don't know that we've had a full 5-on-5 in the last 15 minutes. There's been someone from OutCold getting picked and on the respawn constantly.
And I don't know who other than Kinder Warrior can get these beads and these Magi cloaks onto cooldown as well. That limits part of their big fight potential when they can't burst them easily, though Jhox does a bit of a favor by stepping too far forward and taking a bunch of damage. That is going to be the Tycho jumps now on cooldown as FataliTyxFire gets locked down. Hosiel can't do much by himself. That ends the fight for now.
Cynortas putting out good damage with his Raiju and Percussive Storm combos, but man, these Tycho drums have been rough basically all game. Really hasn't had a good one yet. And you really need I mean, you can have a really sick kit for your first 3 buttons, but you need to be landing your ultimates on any character, basically. Unless you're playing a stance switcher, maybe that's the way they should go.
That's right, and you don't have to worry so much about hitting that big cooldown. Cynortas has the Thunder Crash away, manages to hold on to all his relics under the pressure from Jose Raitu, who has the Shaman's Ring just finished, but certainly not finished stacking. He's only just started with that one. To give him even more movement speed there, aggro, he will be certainly zooming.
So fun. Full movement speed Poseidon. So good.
It is. As Fire Giant is pulled down to about half HP, it'll be OutCold Gaming trying to force their way in to stop Mv3 from securing it, but so far they cannot make it past this front line. The Fire Giant, though, they've slowed the DPS on it substantially, and Hosiel takes quite a bit of poke to keep it at this level. Father of All moves forward. He has Cynortas way in the back line. Whirlpool comes out. Kraken will be the secure, and Fire Giant goes down for Mv3. Jhox even gets the heal off as well, so he's much better off. And now Kinder Warrior a bit isolated on the front line, but Cynortas has burned down the Arthur.
Kinder Warrior is able to find a nice little escape route potentially, though a better Whirlpool might be enough to finish him off. Looks like he's actually still able to escape. With Just Lion now walking straight into the team fight. My man just thinks he's a frontliner at all times.
Cynortas, though, a good job fearing away Jhox. He just can't hit the last shot, so it's not enough damage. In fact, he falls. OhMyJhox Beast gets that kill, and Jhox still clinging to life. FataliTyxFire is able to lock him down, so it's 2 for 2 overall. But remember, Mv3 have already gotten the FG. Make that 3 for 2 overall, as unfortunately for OutCold, mrsacx goes down too.
Man, I mean, I don't understand the second fear option there, Finch. I mean, Cynortas, he's way out of range of being able to hit you at all. Jose gobbles up Kinder Warrior one last time. 16 kills for Jose Raitu on this Poseidon, despite the rough early game. I don't know. OutCold, just bad decision making. Just Lion in particular. I mean, I understand that he got set behind early, but these are types of games where I can feel I got camp, there's nothing I can do. Yeah. And there's absolutely something you can do. There's so much they could have done to prevent how much of an effect that duo lane pressure had on them. You just have to back up. You just have to communicate with one another.
Yeah, and it definitely seemed like that was the big problem here in this one, was that they weren't always on the same page.
Yes.
Like you said, very often someone was getting picked. I mean, Cynortas had that death on the tier 2 tower that kind of set up for the big push on the left side Phoenix, and they didn't have their mage there for that. There were just a bunch of things where it felt like for the first time OutCold were just not on the same page at all. And hopefully they can regroup, at least for their sake, before this next game.
They weren't on the same page. I really don't think that Mv3 was on the same page at all times. The mechanics were rough. I mean,
Sure.
I'm hoping for a better game 2, I think, from both sides, because there were just some head scratchers across the board.
Certainly was, though. It's Mv3 who are the beneficiaries of that game 1. They grabbed that win and a chance to finally put an injury onto OutCold for the first time. We'll see if they can get it done in that next game, though. In between, we'll get over to the desk.
Very few teams have been able to get to this position and find themselves in a position to really take it to OutCold. Mv3, you heard the casters, some ups and downs, but at the end of the day, Mv3 did it.
It was a lot of the Poseidon pick onto Jose specifically. I like the way he was able to position himself against Cynortas' Raijin, constantly picking him off. The cripple was a big deal. Multiple deaths on that Raijin, which is what really struggled, I think, for OutCold Gaming, was that mid position. And then ultimately, that Gold Fury call around that 26-minute mark, which led to the ultimate deicide.
Yeah, we saw Jose Raijin do here some good plays, some not so strong plays, but this was the real interesting one. Was the Kraken just comes out and it's Aegis, but after the fact still has a ton of damage.
That's right. They found the pick onto Cynortas, but then immediately after that, JhoX surprisingly died, which is what kind of tempted out OutCold Gaming to do the Gold Fury in the first place, which ultimately backfired.
So looking at Mv3 right here, 16-5-3.
Wow.
Mr. Raitu certainly the damage dealer in this one, bringing out some interesting builds as well, knowing to go for the Spear of the Magus. That's the way to do it when you're with those dot characters, and JhoX there just to line them up.
As good as Jose Raito did, the beast on the Hachiman over there, going 12-1-10 with 45,000 player damage, top of the entire game. You can't discredit what he was able to bring to the table.
OutCold across the way, some things to work on a little bit there. I think Cynortas needs to understand the character a little bit more, looking for some of these fights out of the Raijin where it's, let's say, ambitious at best. And I think that as we move on, I think he'll be a little bit more comfortable.
Outside of the mid matchup, the solo lane matchup, the Achilles versus the Arthur, giving up Arthur kind of hurt them, because there was one instance at that Gold Fury where even though OutCold Gaming secured the objective, the zoning from Allfather was a little bit better rather than FataliTyxFire. The 1v2 favored the Arthur, whereas the 1v1, the Hachiman Beast, was just out trading out the Achilles, so he couldn't really stay there as long as he wanted to.